Chag Sameach. In many ways, my mother-in-law, Rebecca's mom, Carol, was like every other Jewish Detroiter. She was born here. She happened to be raised at Adat Shalom Synagogue. Her uncle is a past president here, Sam Crone. Of course, there are dynamics. For whatever reason, he raised his family here at Shaarey Zedek. They raised their family. She grew up at Adat Shalom. She graduated Mumford High School. Went on to the University of Michigan. In many ways, she was like many other Jewish Detroiters. There are a couple particular areas, as you know, at this point that she differed. At some point in her life, she decided that she wasn't just going to move out of Jewish Detroit, but she was really going to move out of Jewish Detroit. And they bought a house, she and her husband, my father-in-law, in Pickford, Michigan, north of the Mackinac Bridge, and decided that they were going to raise Rebecca and her siblings in the Upper Peninsula, just like every other Jewish woman that you know. The other significant thing that I want to tell you about Carol as we remember her on this, the seventh day of Pesach, her 19th yortzeit, is that she not only left Detroit, but she allowed some of the worst parts of Detroit to leave her. And she not only moved into the UP, but she let some of the best parts of the UP become part of her. Because something happened the moment she crossed those straits of Mackinac. And my mother-in-law, Carol, of blessed memory, really began seeing all of the beauty of God's creation around her. She started seeing the presence of God in every aspect of her life. She gave thanks for all of these blessings, not because life was always easy, but because something happened when she crossed those waters that allowed her to declare in full conscience, God is good. God is good. This is the seventh day of Pesach, the day we mark the crossing of the waters. And as we've spoken about a few times now throughout the holiday, God bringing us out of Egypt was not so hard. It took a week. From that first Seder in Egypt all the way to the Red Sea, it took a week. But in order for God to remove Egypt from us, I would tell you it took a lot longer. Perhaps 40 years, perhaps 40 centuries to begin to remove Egypt from us. Now, what does it mean to begin to remove Egypt from the Jewish people? As we left Mitzrayim, as we left those narrow places, we were a people physically bound, but we were also in many ways spiritually bound as well. Faith was challenging for us. We saw it at the scene of the golden calf, right? Our ancestors couldn't wait for Moses 40 days on the mountain, so they had to go ahead and create an idol. The idea of an invisible God was hard. But nevertheless, God reminded us over and over again, sometimes with love, sometimes with tough love, that faith matters. And centering ourselves around that faith ought to bring us closer to our people as well. Because what the Torah begins to shape for us, certainly from that point of Exodus all the way forward, is that we Jewish people have a shared history. We've overcome a lot together. We're mishpucha, as the Torah reminds us. We're family. We have a shared history, and even more, we have a shared destiny. We're traveling to that promised land together. Rooted in faith, we can begin to see each other as family and care for each other and love each other and affirm all of the obligations that family should have toward one another. We don't always like each other, but we stand together. That's what being family is about. Now, of course, slavery in Egypt try to take that out of us. But when God says to us, "V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha," you shall love your neighbor as yourself, God is saying, take that idea of oppression and suffering and every person for himself or herself out of your hearts. Remove that Egypt from yourself so that you can truly feel a sense of family among the Jewish people with shared past and with shared future. And then God goes a step farther to try to remove Egypt from us, and I might suggest this is the biggest leap of all. And this is the Egypt that is still within us that we are trying to overcome on this Pesach 5786. Of course, what do we learn in Egypt? Is that the non-Jewish world is out to get us. We learn in Egypt fear. We learn to keep our heads down. We learn to discount the opportunities that are out there because of the risks that they include. We learn that people are trying to hurt us. And so in Egypt, we begin to really focus in on those fears. We begin to build bigger walls around ourselves in order to try to rightfully keep ourselves safe. But when God brought us out of Egypt, God said, the only thing I want you to take with you from Egypt is the memory that you were slaves, the memory that others tried to oppress you, and therefore you are prohibited from oppressing others. 36 times the Torah tells us, remember that you were slaves in Egypt. The idea being that when we come to our own land, we can embrace freedom not only for ourselves, but we can try to begin to let go of that fear and that anger that causes us to oppress others, that causes us to close our eyes to the suffering of others. And I think in many ways, at this Pesach, we're a people again who are afraid. We're a people asking how we can build even bigger walls. Some of that fear is, of course, justified. Most of that fear is simply amplified in our heads because of the Egypt that is still within us. So here we are, how many thousands of years after that first Exodus? And God is inviting us to not just leave Egypt, but to allow Egypt to leave us. On the seventh day of Pesach, we are here at the parted waters. And I might invite me on this day to look inward, to say, what are the pieces of Egypt that are still within me that I need to let go of? What is holding me back? What are the unfounded anxieties and fears that are keeping us limited? What are the over-exaggerated fears that are preventing us from being a people who establish a just and compassionate society that our world needs? And as I begin to hope and pray that in Israel is going to be even more at peace, without rockets raining down on them from Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran or the Houthis, might Israel be able to open itself up to the Palestinians who are living in the West Bank and make sure that justice is preserved there as well. Because for too long we've made good excuses that we're focusing on protecting ourselves. And in doing so, we've let a whole lot of our brothers and sisters abuse the others who are under, in many ways, our obligation to protect and to ensure justice and compassion. I'll just put that out there in the parking lot. And here we are on the seventh day of Pesach. The waters are before us. We've come out of Egypt. Can we begin to take Egypt out of ourselves? Or, as we might put it elsewhere, can we make that trip up I-75? Can we cross the Mackinac Bridge Can we arrive in St. Ignace, Pickford, Sault Ste. Marie, and declare, looking around us, God is good, and live each and every day and each and every way with that truly in our hearts. God is good. On this seventh day of Pesach, may we celebrate not only God bringing us out of Egypt, but God trying to bring Egypt out of us. Because indeed, friends, as we look around at all the miracles in our lives and in our world, God is good. Chag Sameach.